Hi there, this is Shannon from Shannon Feeling Crafty. I am going to make a pleated pinwheel design on a Unique in the Creek board. This is what the petal looks like. I'm going to show you how to make it in a second. This is the small board. I could have done it on this, but I'm choosing to do a third layer of petals, so I'm going to use this board. This is the Unique in the Creek large board. So I'm going to be using this, and I'm going to be putting this sign in the center. Welcome. So I'm going to be putting this sign in the middle. So first I'm going to show you how I make the petals if you haven't seen my reel already. This is yellow poly burlap mesh. I cut it 10-inch yellow poly burlap mesh. I cut it to 10 inches. So I'm going to fold it in this pleated pinwheel. This is one of the easiest petal designs to make, in my opinion, although I have never used it in this way before. Previously, I've used it without interlocking it like I'm going to do now. So I know that this is probably going to be backwards for you, but I'm putting it curl side up, and then I'm going to turn it to my right. I actually did turn to my right. So the finished edge is always in the same spot because otherwise they won't interlock. And also, even if you weren't doing this design, you want your petals to be consistent. So I'm going to pull the top down to the bottom. Everything doesn't have to line up as perfectly as some petals, because on some petals, you're going to see edges fraying or things like that. This one you will not. This will be in the rubber band. So then I'm going to pull from my left down to the bottom corner. And I always do it that way because I like the finished edge to always be on top. Even though I'm layering them, I just want them to do that. It just gives a more polished look, especially if you're using designs where they're not going to interlock. So then I flipped it over and I'm pulling in from the left again. I also did a reel on this fold so that you can go back and look at that if you don't want to see the whole video again. And then I usually scrunch it up at about 2 inches and put an elastic band on it. I have so many leftover rainbow loom bands. That's what these are, from when my kids years and years ago did that. You know, that thing about never throwing anything away in case you need it sometime in the next 40 years. That's what rainbow loom bands are for me. So that's how it looks. I've always learned it as a pleated pinwheel. Some people just say pinwheel, but it has the line down the middle. There's another petal that does not have that, but has a similar look. So I'm going to do one more. Curl side up. Turn it to the right for me. As long as you always are consistent, it doesn't matter which way you turn it. Pull down from the top. This is what makes it a forgiving petal, because it never really shows the frayed part. Then I always pull in from the left down to the corner because I want the finished edge to be here. I also kind of pull it apart like this. Just because I think that it allows it to come over to the middle easier. Then I'm going to flip it over, and I'm going to do the same thing again, pulling down to the bottom corner, and here I still have both finished edges showing. Like I said, depending on your design, that doesn't matter as much, but I always like to be consistent in my designs, and I think that details are very important. And then I'm going to put this on. If anybody needs me to make another one later, I'll be sure to do that. But right now I'm going to get started. Then I would obviously cut these off. Excuse my mess. That's how I roll. And I'm going to swipe this all on the floor to be picked up later or another day. So here is the large board. So I'm going to start on this row here with this white it's not a pure white, but this white petal for the outside, and I'm going to interlock them, but I'm going to turn it over and see if I can load my holes first. Everyone always tells me that this is easier, but I don't know if that's really true. So you are going to, for this, since you're having your petals interlock, on this board, you're going to do all the holes and shared holes, and I'll show you what that means when I'm done with putting this one in. I don't know if you can see that, but this was the first one I put in, and instead of skipping here, I'm also going here. So all the way around, I'm going to put it in every single shared hole so that the petals are very close together. If I were just doing the petals, without the interlocking, then I would not put in every one. I would put in just the two that are closer together, every other one. So this outside row is going to take a lot. I think it's going to be over 30 petals. I don't remember. I know I counted it at one point. And I feel like I have exactly enough petals, so it's going to be exciting to see if I counted properly. So these are 6-inch zip ties. I don't usually use zip ties this small, but I wanted to load them from this side. This is all you really need. The only reason I don't use them that much is because my hands shake, so it makes it difficult to work with them. But if you do not have that problem, 6-inch zip ties are perfect because you can load them just like this, all the way around. So you don't have to worry about it doing it the hard way. So there I have all of my zip ties in the very outside row. Okay, so I'm actually going to get these white ones ready. There's about 1 million of them, so I don't want to knock any on the floor because then I'm going to lose count really easily. Thought when I bought this table that it was going to be so huge that it was going to make everything easier. And it just means that I take up the table, really. Okay, so I'm going to take this pleated pinwheel and I'm going to put it in this outside row and pull my zip tie tight. I'm not going to cut my zip ties as I go because it just takes forever. Hi, Vicki. So there's how one looks. And then as I put them in, I'm going to tuck the corner in here. This is not my design that I made up. I got the pinwheel petal years ago from Carrie's Wreath Creations, but this is a Unique in the Creek design where I believe where you tuck it in, and this is a very popular design right now. So for those of you who haven't seen it, it has a great look, but it does use a lot of petals. You can use the small board and only use 2 rows, but I just really wanted a lot of petals for this. So I'm going to put this one in. And I'm going to take this corner and tuck it in, the petal next to it. And I'm going to do that all the way around. There's a lot of zip ties, friends. A lot. There we go. I'm going to close up a few of these so I don't get confused. Although I'm totally going to get confused because that's how I roll. When I did that last live, I did that patriotic wreath and I color-coded everything. I don't know how many of you were here for that. And I was so proud of myself for color-coding it. But when I went back later before I... Is that St. Michelle? Hi, Michelle. When I went back later to actually look at the wreath, I still missed 3 pieces that I had to put in. It looked full enough, so it didn't matter very much, but even with color coding it, I missed a few, so it happens. All right, so I'm gonna put some of these in now. So I've seen many of these. I've seen Holly do it on both the Unique in the Creek board and on a wireframe. So a lot of times when I use these boards, people ask me, can you do that on a wireframe? And usually the answer is yes. And then I try to provide you with the tutorial that in fact does show how to do that. Usually you have to add some kind of plastic mesh to the inside. Thank you, Deborah, to the inside of the metal frame so that you can keep going toward the middle of the flower design. And that's how you can do it on a wireframe. But I just love these boards. I don't even know where I first learned about these boards. Very early on in my wreath making journey. All right, so that's how it looks so far. I have seen some people put them closer together, but I don't need to have any more petals than I do right now. So I'm going to keep going around, and I'm already kind of getting excited by how this looks. And if you came late, this is the sign that I'm going to use when I'm done. I'm going to have a chocolate brown and a yellow. Hello, Betty. Thank you for coming. I'm glad you found me. I'm doing a lot better with the channel. If you are here today and you have not joined my channel yet, it says when you get off this live, it says somewhere on my page channel. And if you join my channel, then you will get messenger things from me. So any post that's informational or whatever, I will send to my channel, and then you'll see that, because I know if you don't visit people's pages daily, they aren't always in your feed. Do they make any with the hole in the center? This, you just cover it up with whatever you want. They do have a ring board, but it has a very big hole in the center. Let me show you my ring board. They have this is a ring board, and it's almost 16 inches. So I've used this for a lot of wreaths, especially pancake style wreaths. But for these, I always put some kind of center in it. It's usually a flower center, but today I'm using a sign. That's not typical for me on these boards, but that's what a lot of people have done with these pinwheel petal wreaths. I apologize if I don't get to your comments. Facebook doesn't always like to show them, and you're on my iPad. Yes, I don't have an oval board with me, Carol. I'm actually out of the oval boards. Betty, I love these boards. The small one is actually what I've used the most. And I've made a lot of sunflowers in particular on here. When I first started, everybody wanted a sunflower. But I like them. You can make snowflakes on them. You can make regular wreaths on them. They don't always have to be flower designs, but they're super easy. You can buy them in bulk on Amazon. You can buy them from Unique in the Creek. And you can buy them, I know, from Craft Outlet. If I'm making a big Craft Outlet order, that's where I would normally order them from, because I think if you order them from Amazon, they come in 10 packs and they're a tiny bit more money. So these are plastic, but they're 100% made from recycled plastic, which is very nice. So make sure if you get them, you get the Unique in the Creek version, because not all of them have the same hole patterns. The knockoffs don't. It is a Canadian company, but you can still get the boards in the US. And like I said, Craft Outlet is a big supplier of You can see the one, the marine one that you're wanting to do on that. You mean the jellyfish one or something else? So I know you were talking to me about a jellyfish or some kind of ocean one. I almost always am doing something while I'm watching these. Either during football season, I'm watching football, or I'm folding petals, or I'm putting together a wreath. Very often I'm cutting mesh because that's so super boring. So I'm going to put more in and we're going to get around. This is about 1 million on the outside row. We'll count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. It's 32 on the outside if you do all the shared holes. And this is the large board. You can make a regular wreath on this because you can put the sign in the middle. It just depends on how you want to put the mesh or other items on them. I see a lot of people making wreaths on them that are not flower designs. I even think that Holly did a patriotic one like that last year maybe. And I see a lot of other friends doing other kinds of wreaths on here. Yes, the jellyfish one. Missed the beginning. How do you make the petal? I will show you in just a second. I have a few extra pieces just for that. All right, so here we are so far. It's pretty big, but I wanted this to be pretty big. Oh, there's stuff all over my floor, so I have a piece of mesh on my floor. All right, so how you make the petal again is you put the, you cut the mesh, this 10-inch yellow poly burlap mesh. You do not have to use poly burlap. I do think that I have green glitter in my mesh. I've not done anything with green glitter in months. The rose wreaths are perfect on these boards. All of my rose wreaths were made on these large Unique in the Creek boards. So this is poly burlap mesh. The other mesh that works really good in this petal is the horizontal wide stripe. Deco mesh will look fine. It just wouldn't be as crisp, I don't think, of a look. So cross side up, I'm going to turn it to the right because they need to be consistent to interlock. Then I'm going to pull the corner down to the bottom. I also have a reel just doing this on my page somewhere. I'm going to pull it apart just a little bit from top to bottom, make it easier to fold. Then I'm going to pull down like this from the left side because I also have the finished edge here, which I like. Then I'm going to turn it over and do the same thing on this side. And green glitter. That green glitter is just going to be in here forever because I can't get it out. Ah, it's so funny. It could be from Christmas and it's still on my table. You do not know. And then I'm going to gather it at about 2 inches. I don't know where everybody else gathers it. That's just what I do. And then I'm going to use one of these little rubber bands to put that together. So it looks like that, and then I'm just going to cut a little bit off the bottom. I already forgot where my scissors are. Yes, I did make a mess, and I'm just going to put that right on the floor for now and pretend like it never happened. All right, so I'll put these over here. So that's how you make the petal. I hope that you're, like folding a napkin. True. That's true, Mom. Oh, whoops, I'm over here. I'm confused. All right. It's so funny that you're watching today, Mom, because I almost always have my hair in a bun on the top of my head. Any of my followers that have watched me live can tell you that. But today, I had a headache. Oh, you're welcome, Barbara. So I left it down-ish. I am wearing earrings, though. They're hard to see. My mom never leaves the house without earrings. Even wearing a bracelet. All right. We're getting somewhere now. I've never done one of these before, so I'm super excited. You think of me every time you swipe the scraps on the floor. It is so satisfying. You know, eventually I do have to clean it up. And it's not easy to clean up because I have an area rug and a hard floor, so it just gets all stuck under the carpet, but I don't care. Whenever I do things, I'm messy as I go. So that's how it looks so far. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. I have seen people making these for a few months now, and I just have really, really enjoyed how they turn out. And I just haven't found the right opportunity to make one. Hi, Patty. Thank you for coming. I know Patty uses Unique in the Creek products too, and she makes the coolest umbrella designs and angel wings designs from Crooked Tree Creations. Oh, whoops. I guess I did not go on Do Not Disturb. I'm going to go on Do Not Disturb right now. My text message does like a little minion sound. I don't know if you know who they are, but from Despicable Me. It's really kind of obnoxious. Okay. Right, so eventually I'm going to get around. This is the big row here. And then it will get easier. Luckily for all of you, I folded the petals ahead of time, except for the ones that I was demonstrating with, because we'd be on here forever if I had not. I see a lot of people on here. Hi, Nancy. Does that say Rosie? Oh, okay, you're going to be right back. I think that says Rosie. Welcome, welcome. I'm looking up at my iPad because my phone doesn't always show the comments, so I'm recording with my iPad to help my eyes, because whenever I don't do that, my iPad or my phone decide they're not going to show the comments, and I'm totally lost, and I can't see what you're all saying. Just a quick reminder, if you are watching someone live, it is a social event. It's slightly off-white. It's just not a pure white. It's kind of like an eggshell, so it's not a pure white. It's kind of hard to find poly burlap in like an absolutely pure white color, but yeah, it's a tiny bit off. Although if you look at the sign, this is white, but the rest of it is kind of neutral. Yes, please like and subscribe. Thank you so much, Betty. If you join my channel, that helps you get all of the updates and when I'm going to be live. And, you know, sometimes I'll reshare reels or videos there. So if you see me talking to people like I know them, it's because this is a community and we do know each other. I see new people every time, but there's so many fellow crafters and content creators that I've known forever. Like I see Holly and Patty are talking to each other because they know each other here in our crafting community. So I haven't yet made one of those pinwheel wreaths. This is my first one. I kept meaning to do it, but then I went on vacation and I didn't bring any flour. I didn't bring stuff for that because everybody had me making them tulips and Easter stuff and cookies and whatever else I made on vacation. So I just now got to it. It's like a very simple looking design, but it's very pretty, and I think that you can do it for so many different things. And you can put a flower center in the middle, either one that you purchase or your own. I know that many of us watch. Oh, you think I missed tucking one in? That's very possible. Yes, thank you. I would have found it eventually, but then I would have been horrified that I didn't do it. Looks kind of like hair to me right now. Okay. Who knew this was going to take so long to go around? I should have. It's already 5:30, but the inner 2 rows are going to get easier. Zip ties are totally confusing me. So weird, I haven't seen my 2 sisters yet. My family is so supportive of me. They usually come on, but it might be a bad time for them today. Or maybe they're there silently watching. Do not know. I'm trying to figure out what to do next. I did go live last week, or a week and a half ago on a Friday, so I'm doing better. I'm trying to figure out what to do next. I do have a patriotic wreath that I made with fabric last year. Hi, Karen. And a few people did see that on my cover photo and ask for that. If you're using a 12-inch sign, then I think you would just do 2 rows. This is there's glue on my mat. That makes me want to cry. This is an 8-inch sign. So if you just did this row and this row, I think the 12-inch sign would look good. I'm going to do 3 rows. So, yeah, I mean, you can always accommodate. In fact, most of them that I see only have 2 rows, but I just wanted to have 3 rows of petals. I've only watched 1 or 2 lives with it and not all the way through because I was doing something else. I actually don't use 12-inch signs a lot. I'm starting to. When I used to make my own signs, most of the time I almost always used 12-inch signs because that was the size wood round I have. I would also like to start doing that more because I haven't done that in forever. But if you've been with me for 3 years, you know that I painted a lot of my own signs, drew and painted a lot of my own signs, especially in the beginning. Or if for some reason somebody asks me for something and there aren't really signs for that, because there are some things that there aren't. So I'd like to do that. And I did make a cookie wreath attachment while I was in Arizona, and I kind of got the bug for trying to make another. You have a few to use up. I'd like to try to make more wreath attachments because I thought that was so fun. I mean, I didn't think it was fun at the time. I was really stressed out because I was having so much trouble sewing it and then turning it inside out. I was like, I don't know how to sew. I mean, not so that it looks pretty, but I did it. All right. Okay, we're almost around. Oh, we have extra. So apparently I didn't count properly, but I have more than enough, which is good. Hopefully I have enough of the brown because that was not a full roll. Most of my poly burlap mesh is from Craft Outlet, and they give you the largest rolls as compared to the ones you get in the store. And I feel like they're usually thicker too. In a pinch, I will order them on Amazon because I went to Hobby Lobby and Michael's recently, and they had very, very little in terms of. What did I do? Oh, I gotta tuck this last one in. I was so confused. All right, that's how it looks. All the way around for the one. I'm super excited. So now I'm gonna cut off all these zip ties with this whoops. With this thing, which is one of my favorite things to do while crafting. Just saying. And then all these are going to go on the floor too. Tight ends. and cuts. Whoops. It took me like a very long time to figure out how to do this. There's definitely a learning curve. So if you buy one of these little zip tie things that tighten and cut them, don't give up. It's not broken. Most likely it's not broken. Most likely you just gotta fiddle with it and learn how to do it. If anyone is interested in this from this week that I'm making, you can always send me a private message or an email on my page. Not making it for anyone in particular. You never tried one of these? Okay, Patty, it is so fun, and you use so many zip ties, you absolutely have to get one. Holly has a blue one in her Amazon thing. I don't know where I got mine, so go to her Amazon one and get her blue one. That is fantastic. It is so fun. I mean, that's not why I use it, but it is, because pulling on the zip ties. There we go, on the floor. All right, so I think it's 24 here that I'm gonna put in. And I am not gonna turn it over this time because I want to connect them as I go. Because I got so confused before. So I'm gonna connect them as I go. Remember, if you join late, that I'm going to be doing shared holes. I'll show you what I mean. If you're doing this on a wireframe with plastic mesh, then you're just going to be putting them close together, and you're going to, I love that you, Patty, that is what I do. I haven't had a lot of lives in my life, but I'm real. That's what I do. So if you see them, they're all shared holes all the way around because you need that many petals. If you're doing other designs, that would not be true. So what happens since I push all that on the floor is you do see little strings of mesh, and hello, I don't see who that is. Let me see. Oh, it doesn't say on here. I think that's Monica somebody, I hope. I need better glasses. I'm doing the best I can. Thank you for joining. So I do track like little scraps. That's why I probably had that little piece of green glitter here on my table. I mean, I find them in the hallway. I find them in the kitchen. You should see the inside of my vacuum when I dump it out. It's ridiculous. I don't know when I last did glittery stuff here, but yeah, the glitter is there. But this poly burlap mesh, I get little strings from this everywhere because this frays pretty easily. But I'm not neat. I'm not neat when I create, so I'm not going to fake it when I'm doing it for you. Well, thank you for joining. I'm so happy that you came. If you have not done so, when the live is over, please join my channel. That is how you will get messenger things from me in your messenger. You can't ever reply unless it's a poll, but it will definitely let you know when I'm going to be live and if there are other things I want to share with you, because I know with the algorithm we don't always see these things in our feeds, and we don't always get to. Yeah, Holly, I know I taught you something. You teach me so much. I taught you to wipe all your nonsense on the floor, all your trash on your floor when you're creating. I'm so glad I could teach you something. Yeah, it's a mess. Behind me, it looks like I'm neat. I know people always, you do have stuff under your craft table and mesh scraps all over your house. Yeah, the mesh gets on your feet or your shoes and that just tracks. And I do try to sweep and vacuum it up, but you can't ever get it all. The one thing that is hard is I definitely have to pick up the zip tie scraps with my hands because they will totally mess up the vacuum. They won't break it, but they will definitely get hung up in the vacuum. The vacuum does not like pipe cleaners or zip ties, or even like pieces of ribbon. But it definitely likes all the little pieces of mesh. Right, so I'm almost around. I'm so excited to see how this looks. I was going to pick like a tan or beige color. It looks neat behind me, but there's a whole bunch of stuff on the floor. There's just petals and random ribbon and wreath frames and clips and like almost empty case of water. There's stuff all over the floor next to me. So you're seeing behind me my neat little mesh shelf. But you are not seeing the mess. The mess is for real. And if you have not ever been on my live or heard me talk about it before, this is a little condo. I do not have a house. This is not a craft room per se. This is the dining area in my condo. So I'm looking directly at the couch and then the recliners and then the TV directly in front of me. So if the TV is on or whatever, I can watch it from here, but there is no dining room. So I know I made that meme one time. I don't even think it was a meme. I think it was just a text post where I said, I hate when people try to dine on my craft table. That's true because I did not buy this table for dining. I bought it for crafting. And the secondary function is if company is over to dine. My son Brady sometimes puts a little chair at the end and eats there if he's not eating in his room while he's gaming or whatever. But I ate in my recliner. I mean, my kids were little. I had a table, but I had a house. So this is not my dining room table unless company is over. And one time my family came to visit and I hadn't even put all the chairs together yet. So this has 6 chairs and I only put them together when 2 of my sisters and my parents came to visit because now I have 6 chairs and 5 of them I don't need for the most part. Right now my tripod is on a chair and so is my ring light. This is the worst room for lighting. Almost around. And then I will get my chocolate brown mesh. I hope the chocolate brown mesh looks good. It might look almost black on camera. I'm not really sure. Because when I took a picture of it yesterday, it looked almost black. I promise it's chocolate brown. I'm definitely sure that I got that on Craft Outlet because I've never seen chocolate brown mesh in the store ever. So here's one of the millions of bins. You remember that, Deborah? Listen, that post where I said that was huge. I didn't even pay attention to it for a few days because it was just a text post, but it was seen by like 40,000 people. I guess a lot of people craft in their kitchen/dining room. And then their family dares to try to eat there. Alright, so these are all chocolate brown. I don't know if you can see that. Can you see that that's brown? You love that mesh shelf? Actually, if you see this right here is one shelf. So I could actually take these cubbies out and do it down here. But I have 4 of them back to back. They're like Better Homes and Garden, and I put them together. So if I needed to, I could do mesh all the way down. And then just like all weird stuff is in here. This one has mesh too. But some of them have like seasonal ribbon or other nonsense in them. I don't know if my mom's still here, but my mom could tell you and my best friend and my kids how much my craft stash has grown in the last 3+ years. It's kind of scary. I know the rest of you can probably understand that, but I had no place to put these supplies, and since it is my dining area, I needed to make it sort of look good, right? Even though it's not for dining, this is the first thing that you see when you walk into my home. I wouldn't have thought, I wish I had this chocolate brown mesh when I did the cookie, actually. But, so I'm going to have yellow on the inside row, and then I'm going to put this. Oh, she's still here. So my parents are still here. That's so exciting because I don't know how many times, but they have not watched me live much. And my goal right now is to go live more often. So everyone needs to still stay on my case, and you are welcome to message me or comment under a post or whatever. I need to cut this piece. Anything you would like to see me make in the future. My mom is always saying that she's surprised that this is something that I ended up doing after I retired from being a music teacher. But I feel like most artists, most creative people, if they try, can be creative in other ways as well. And this became an outlet for me while I was still teaching, but only at Christmas time. I don't know if any of you were crafting during that big hanger craze of, 5 years ago. I can make any kind of thing with a hanger. So my mom has a big hanger wreath that I made while I was at her house years ago. But I started this page. Oh, I didn't cut this one. I started this page a little while after I had to retire because I needed something to do, and I really did not think this page was going to turn into what it has. 35,000 followers. I didn't even think of that in my wildest dreams, so that was a very exciting milestone for me, and also kind of shocking because I'm just, sitting in my dining room, making stuff here. And I do think it was always my dining room, and like every place that I crafted, it was always my so-called dining room. These two are stuck together, I don't know why. Okay. I think it's looking so fun. Interlocking pinwheel. I might have put this one in a little too tight. I don't know. What do you think? How many of you made this before? I know Holly has made this. Has anybody else made one of these designs like this? And if so, what did you put in the middle? The first one I saw had like kind of a wicked type sign in the middle, like from the play or movie or whatever. And it was pink and green. It didn't say wicked bush. I didn't cut this. Know who I am. I thought I cut all of them, but there's just so many. There's so many petals here. You love these colors together? I wasn't sure, and I couldn't find, I could have put this color on the outside, but if you look it up against the yellow, it kind of clashes with the yellow, so I didn't do that. But I really liked that color too. I don't know anybody using, you did a snowman one with turquoise, black, and white like this. You did this one. If you don't know Patty Davis, she is Crooked Tree Creations, and she has come up with some amazing designs. I want to do your swirl petal desperately. That's on my list coming up in the next couple of weeks, months, whenever I can get to it. It's amazing. That most recent wreath that you posted with the petals, they're the petals I use for the dragon scales around the outside. And then the swirl petal in the middle. So pretty. I think that it looks good on the big board too because I wanted it to be more. It looks great with the 2 rows when people do it on the small board or when they have bigger signs, but I just wanted the flower to be more of it. So, all right, see if anybody's making sure I'm tucking them all. This was such a good idea. It's such a simple thing, but whoever, I mean, I guess Lori maybe was the first one who did it. I don't really know. Lori from Unique in the Creek, but sometimes the simplest things are the most beautiful. You're welcome, Patty. I thought about trying to figure out how you did that swirl petal, but I didn't because I know that you were selling that tutorial initially, so I didn't want to, but I still haven't really figured it out, so I'm going to have to watch one of them to do it. I'm so happy with this so far. I hope that does look brown. Appreciate all of you for stopping in, and if you have not said hello yet, please say hello. I know that when I'm watching someone and I'm busy doing things, I might not comment much, and that's okay, but I would hope for you to at least say hello. All right, this one is going to be close because I really felt like I had exactly enough pieces of this brown. Because initially I wanted to do the brown on the outside and then this whitish in the middle, but the brown was not a complete roll, so I couldn't. But I'm kind of liking this anyway. I can't believe how neat this is coming here because I am not Sharon Fortson. She doesn't have a business page, but makes this style. I don't know if she's a part of that Unique in the Creek group then. I don't know. Or if she just learned it from someone, but I did not have a business page when I first started either. I was just giving myself something to do. But I have so many followers that don't have business pages, and I love that because everybody can make things, even if it's not their business. You have the swirl petal tutorial, gotta practice it, your attempts were so bad. It doesn't look easy, and even if you do it right, I'm sure that you have to work at it to make it look neat. I mean, Patty will have to tell us how easy or how hard it was. But I'm definitely going to figure out, and I will practice all day and all night until I can make it look good because it's super cool. And I think it can be used for a lot of different designs and seasons. Somehow I'm tangled here. Let's see if this can work. No, it's not. It's tangled. I don't know how I did that. I'm a hot mess. I'll put another zip tie in there. If you heard me say before, I typically don't use these little tiny zip ties. Or the smaller ones because my hands shake and I find them very hard to work with, but if you don't have that problem, they're great because they're cheaper and more usually come in a package and it's less wasteful. All right, we're almost done with the brown. We have 3 more. A lot of people call it a pinwheel petal. I initially learned it as a pleated pinwheel petal. That's what Carrie's recreation called when I watched her years ago. I don't even know if she still makes videos. I have seen her on Facebook. but she had the, you can still watch her on YouTube. She had the most thorough petal tutorials, like just to show me how to make one petal, just forever, but just so thorough that it was easy to learn how to do it. And she called it a pleated pinwheel, and I don't really know who invented it or who named it. I usually see people say pinwheel. And I use this petal a lot, actually, but I do not use it in this way. I've only made one sunflower using just this petal. I was going to make a reel showing how to make the Joan petal the other day, and I threw the mesh across the room and never did it. And if you don't know what that is, she, a girl named Joan Ward, she doesn't have a business page either, to my knowledge, made a petal, and I used it once, and apparently I can't make it anymore, where it doesn't look like a mess. She had her own tutorial, but just in a group, so I was going to make one for my page and give her credit, and that day wasn't happening because I was super frustrated. So maybe another day, maybe another kind of mesh. I do believe that horizontal wide stripe mesh is very easy to work with when you're making petals and doesn't fray much. Some people don't like it because it feels way more like plastic. And that's what she used. And I tried poly burlap, and that was a hot mess. So I can see that. All right, get rid of all those zip ties. If you've popped in and you like your tutorials to be fast, this is a live, not a tutorial. And it is a tutorial, but it's live, so we're talking to each other. And that's what makes it different and what makes it special from a tutorial. I had to figure out how to make just tutorials. I don't know. I know it's time consuming because I'm going to want to edit everything and I'm going to fumble over my words, but I do that anyway, so I'm probably going to have to leave just some of that in because I'm not going to be able to do it as perfectly as many of you do, and I'm not going to want to edit it to the point that many of you do, but I will. I eventually download and moderately edit my lives, and then I put them on YouTube. I do not have a huge following on YouTube because of that. I haven't done a whole lot. But if I get 1,000 followers on YouTube, I will go live on there as well. So that's something exciting. All right, so here's our last row. We'll get our yellow ones out and hope I have enough. All right, this is the moment of truth, friends. See, I'm getting a couple of little. I did cut these with the wood burning tool, but you really don't have to for this. You mix petals in all of your flowers. I usually do, Nancy, because I think it makes it more interesting. But there are some classic designs with all the same. Like when I see people use all Star Trek petals in like 3 different rows and it just looks so neat. I really do like that. I don't usually do that myself. Or sometimes I turn the petals the other way so that they don't look like a typical Star Trek petal. You don't know what a Star Trek petal is, that's another lesson. All these petals have names, and I don't know all the names. But I like to use 2 or 3 different petal styles in. All right, so there it is with the yellow. That yellow looks much brighter on the screen than it does in real life. It's probably my ring light. It's actually a much more buttery color, not bright at all. So I don't know why it looks like that. It must be all the weird lights in here because I have this fancy light here and I have a ring light there because this is a very dim room. So One thing that you will know from those of you who make wreaths is it's very hard to capture the actual color and dimension in a photo of a wreath. I will mess with the color on my photo to try to get it as close to the actual color, but this yellow is not bright. It looks so bright here on the screen that I actually don't like it, but it is not. It's just your regular, standard, soft, poly burlap yellow. There we go. Oh, I'm so excited. We're almost to the end. Excuse my singing. My son's gonna walk in any minute. I told him I was live so he didn't accidentally say any bad words. Okay. So for a lot of designs, I even have to do another row. Like if I'm making my own flower center or I'm putting a small pre-made flower center, I would use this inside row here. And then your sign or your flower center goes through these two holes in the middle. But sometimes I have so many petals there overlapping that I can't even get to the two holes in the middle. So I just figure out like other holes to stick them in. I did that. It actually looks so different when I hold it up and I look at it up there. It's actually like I get a better idea of what it looks like than just looking at it flat on my table. Same thing, I have a wreath easel as well. I usually use it for flower designs, but it does give you a really good look at what the wreath's gonna, look like on the wall or on the door. If you were to come to my house, you would see wreaths everywhere. This is not only wreaths on doors house. This is a wreaths everywhere house. In fact, I don't even have a wreath on my door right now. Maybe I'll put this one on my door. Almost done. I'm so excited. Someone whose son streaked behind her during her live. You just donated 2 truckloads. I believe that you did. My sons were gaming during one of my lives. I forget which one it was because I don't go live that much. I think it was when I made the heart with all the big giant cruffles in it. And the door must have been open for a second, and he definitely screamed something very, very, very... Karen, I'm not sure because Deco Mesh sometimes doesn't have such as crisp of a look. Not that I haven't ironed it before, so I would have to try it. I know that it would work with the horizontal wide stripe because I've seen a lot of people do that. Poly burlap is really easy to fold into the exact shape that you want it in. You remember that, Deborah? Listen, I talked to Facebook on the phone over that expletive phrase that came from my son because I didn't want to be in trouble. They laughed, but if they found it on their own, I might not be here right now. So, yeah. For some reason, I had trouble getting on that day, and so I didn't fix the audio. You know, when you go live, you can take out some background noise and enhance the audio or whatever. I did not get to do that because I was having trouble, and I just threw my iPad up in there because my phone wasn't working, and I just did it. And yeah. It only took a few seconds, but it was not the best. I did edit it out before I put it on YouTube, though. Holly taught me how to do that. Because I do very, very simple reels. There's really not much editing whatsoever. All right, there it is. All right, I'm gonna cut these. We are almost done here. See, now my hands are shaking. All right. I really questioned if the chocolate brown would look good, but I like it a lot. That is a lot of pieces of mesh there, friends. All right, that's how it looks. So that's how it looks on the back. So if you're one that usually covers the backs of your wreaths, you really don't have to cover the backs of these because it is very neat. They usually have two holes closer together, but really you can use whatever hole you need to put a zip tie or a pipe cleaner or a string or whatever you're going to hang it through on the back. So here is my sign. The sign has two holes right here because it had a piece of twine on it, and I was going to keep the piece of twine on it. But for those of you who can't stand the holes, Holly, then you put something else on it. Thanks, Mom and Dad. You put something else on it. I threw some flowers here on the floor before I came on. You could put a flower on it. You could make a little bow. Whatever. I'm not going to do that right now, but I might look at it later and feel like I want to cover the holes, and then I will. So I had a pipe cleaner, but I don't know where I put it. So I have this huge drawer here filled with pipe cleaners and zip ties. I mean, I have enough pipe cleaners to let all of you make wreaths with at this point. This is a cable tie mount. I used DAP Rapid Fuse glue to glue that on the back. Usually takes 30 minutes to set. Some people, this is wood, so some people would just use their strong hot glue. Just a minute, Cassie. And some people, especially on the metal, would use E6000, but you have to do that a day ahead of time, really. So I'm going to put a pipe cleaner through it. You could put a zip tie through it. And then I am going to put it through these two holes here. If you were doing petals in here and you couldn't get to the two holes, sometimes I will put it through another hole on each side. So I'm going to string that through there, and hopefully after all this work, it's going to look fantastic. If I need another row, guess what? I'm not doing it right now because I don't know what I would put there if I needed another row, but I don't think so. Okay. All right. So then you twist that on the back. The cable mounts have adhesive on the back, or at least the ones I buy, but I actually peeled the adhesive off because I've had, especially in the cold, even though I glue over it, there she is. Even though I glue over it, I've had them come off and the adhesive piece is still stuck. onto the thing. So there are a lot of different ways to do it. So I'm going to clip this a little bit. And then I'm actually going to turn it back into the hole, I think. So there's nothing pointy. And I think Cassie, thank you. I can just pick one that's going to, I think these two are the ones that they designated, but I just usually put a pipe cleaner through the back and then tighten it up. I mean, it depends on how you hang your wreaths. I use those white hooks that have the adhesive on the back that you can take off. So I just made this little pipe cleaner thing. I twisted it on the inside. So there she is. I'm really happy with it. I'm super excited how it turned out. And I think the colors were very good choices. And I was concerned about that. And then when I was making it, if I hated it, I was going to tell you that I thought it was ugly, but that I liked the design. But apparently the colors are not ugly, so it worked out.